Most people assume that waking up multiple times a night to use the bathroom is just an unavoidable part of getting older. But after 60, the real story often begins hours earlier, with a series of hidden and completely controllable daily habits. This isn't just about the frustration of broken sleep. It's about reducing the very real risk of a fall in a dark hallway. It's about feeling more rested, more clear-headed, and more energetic the next day. Ultimately, it's about ensuring your bladder doesn't dictate your schedule, your confidence, or your independence. In this video, we're going to walk through the 5 most common, yet often overlooked, reasons for these nighttime trips. For each one, I'll explain the simple why, how your body is working, and give you practical, doable steps you can start using tonight. And be sure to stay with me until the very end, because the number one reason on our list is the one most people, and even some doctors, miss. I'll also give you a simple 3-step action plan to put it all together. This is all about education, not alarm. We'll talk about what's normal, what might not be, and when a simple conversation with your doctor is the best next step. It's a frustrating cycle, and please know you are certainly not alone in this. If you find this kind of straightforward health information helpful, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Our goal here is to build a supportive community. I'd love to read in the comments. What's one health question you wish was explained more clearly? All right, let's begin our countdown with number 5. Number 5, the evening flood. This one sounds obvious, but the mechanism is a little more detailed than you might think. We often focus on what we drink, but when and how much we drink in the hours before bed is critical. Your kidneys are remarkable filtering systems, but they don't have an on-off switch. When you drink a large glass of water, a big mug of tea, or even eat a large bowl of soup close to bedtime, you're essentially giving your kidneys a big work assignment that will come due 2, 3, or even 4 hours later, right in the middle of your sleep cycle. Think of it like this. Your body is always trying to maintain a perfect fluid balance. When you flood it late at night, your kidneys work diligently to process that fluid and excrete the excess as urine. This process doesn't just stop because you've turned out the lights. A very common scenario is feeling a bit dehydrated in the evening and trying to catch up on water intake right before turning in. Or maybe it's the comforting ritual of a cup of herbal tea while reading in bed. While the intention is good, the timing works against a full night's sleep. So, the practical step here is to create a fluid taper. This doesn't mean dehydrating yourself. It simply means shifting your main fluid intake to earlier in the day. Try to make your last large drink of the day, whether it's water, milk, or juice, about 2 to 3 hours before you plan to go to sleep. After that point, it's not about cutting off all liquids, but about switching to small, deliberate sips if you feel thirsty or need to take medication. A dry mouth at night can also be a culprit, prompting you to drink more. Sometimes, simply running a humidifier in your bedroom can help with that and reduce the need for that bedside glass of water. Now, here is the important red flag line. If you are experiencing sudden, extreme, and unquenchable thirst at night that is new for you, this is something to bring up with your doctor, as it can sometimes be a sign of underlying issues like undiagnosed diabetes. But for most of us, simply managing the timing of our fluids can make a world of difference. From the timing of our liquids, we move to the type of liquids. That brings us to number 4. Number 4, the bladder irritators, caffeine and alcohol. Many of us are careful about not having a cup of coffee right before bed, but the effects of both caffeine and alcohol can linger in our system for far longer than we realize, directly impacting bladder function overnight. Let's break down the simple mechanisms. Caffeine is a double whammy. First, it's a diuretic, which is a fancy word for something that makes your kidneys produce more urine. Second, and perhaps more importantly, It's a known bladder irritant. It can make the muscular wall of the bladder a bit twitchy or oversensitive. This means your bladder might send the "I'm full, time to go" signal to your brain long before it's actually full. Alcohol works a little differently. It interferes with something called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. You can think of ADH as your body's natural conserve water signal, which is normally released at night to help you sleep through without needing the bathroom. Alcohol suppresses the release of this hormone, which is why you may notice you have to go more often after a glass of wine or a beer. Your body's natural braking system is temporarily offline. The relatable scenario is the 3 p.m. coffee or tea to get through an afternoon slump, or the evening glass of wine to unwind with dinner. We assume that by bedtime, hours later, the effects have worn off. But for many people over 60, our metabolism slows down, and it takes the body longer to process these substances. That afternoon coffee could still be affecting your bladder at 2 a.m. The practical step is to establish a caffeine curfew. A good rule of thumb for many is to have your last caffeinated beverage, that includes coffee, black tea, green tea, and mini sodas, no later than 2 p.m. And it's worth remembering that decaf does not mean caffeine-free. It still contains small amounts that can be enough to irritate a sensitive bladder. With alcohol, the key is moderation and timing. If you enjoy an evening drink, try to have it earlier, perhaps with your dinner, and follow it with a glass of water to stay hydrated. This gives your body more time to process the alcohol and for your ADH levels to return to normal before you sleep. Consider swapping that late-night drink for a non-diuretic, calming herbal tea like chamomile or peppermint. This is a good moment to bust a common myth: the idea that just one small cup or just one small glass won't have an effect. While that might have been true in our 30s or 40s, our bodies change. Our sensitivity to these substances can increase with age. It's not about an absolute rule, but about listening to your own body and recognizing that what worked a decade ago might not be what works for you today. Moving on from what we drink, let's look at what we eat. That brings us to number 3. Number 3, the hidden salt and sugar overload. We've talked about fluids, but our food choices, especially in the evening, play a massive and often misunderstood role in nighttime urination. The two main culprits are hidden sodium and excess sugar. Let's start with salt. The mechanism here is a basic principle of biology called osmosis. In simple terms, water follows salt. When you eat a high-sodium meal, your body holds on to extra water to dilute that salt and keep your blood concentration in a safe range. You might not feel thirsty, but your body is internally waterlogged. Throughout the day, this extra fluid can pool. Then, when you lie down at night, your circulatory system has an easier time sending all that excess fluid back to the kidneys to be filtered out. The result? Your kidneys are working overtime, producing urine all night long to get rid of that extra salt and the water it was holding on to. The scenario here isn't necessarily shaking too much salt on your food. The biggest sources are often hidden in processed foods: canned soups, frozen dinners, deli meats, sauces, salad dressings, and even bread. A single serving of canned soup can contain more than half of your recommended daily sodium intake. For sugar, the effect can be similar, especially if you have any degree of insulin resistance, which is very common as we age. When blood sugar is high, the kidneys work to flush the excess sugar out of the body through urine, and that sugar pulls water along with it, increasing urine volume. The practical steps start with becoming a label detective. When you're shopping, make a habit of checking the sodium content on packaged foods. Look for low-sodium versions, or, even better, focus on whole foods like fresh vegetables, fruits, and lean proteins that you season yourself. Instead of salt, Experiment with flavorful herbs and spices like garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, or dill. For sugar, try to limit desserts and sweet snacks to earlier in the day. An after-dinner bowl of ice cream or a few cookies can set your kidneys up for a busy night. If you're craving something sweet after your evening meal, a small piece of fruit or a handful of berries is a much better choice. If you're finding these simple explanations useful, a quick tap on the subscribe button helps our community of health-savvy seniors grow. Now, this next one is a huge piece of the puzzle, and it has everything to do with gravity. Let's look at number 2. Number 2, the daytime gravity effect. This is one of the most significant factors for nighttime bathroom trips in older adults, and it has to do with how fluid behaves in our bodies over a 24-hour cycle. The technical term is nocturnal polyuria from peripheral edema, but we'll call it the daytime gravity effect. Here's the simple mechanism. As you're up and about during the day, walking, sitting, standing, gravity is constantly pulling fluids downward. For many of us, especially if our circulation isn't as efficient as it used to be, some of that fluid can pool in our lower legs, ankles, and feet. This is called edema. You might notice it as slightly swollen ankles at the end of the day or see the indentation from your socks when you take them off. This isn't necessarily a dangerous thing. It can be quite common. But here's the key. When you finally lie down flat in bed, gravity is no longer a factor. All that fluid that was pooled in your legs is now free to re-enter your bloodstream. Your blood volume temporarily increases, and this larger volume of fluid is sent to your kidneys for filtering. Your kidneys, doing their job perfectly, turn that extra fluid into urine, leading to one or more trips to the bathroom overnight. Essentially, your body is doing its water balancing work while you're trying to sleep. The practical solution is wonderfully simple and effective: strategic leg elevation. This isn't just putting your feet up on a stool. This is about using gravity to your advantage before you go to sleep. About an hour or two before your intended bedtime, lie down on your back, either on the floor, a sofa, or your bed, and prop your legs up on a stack of pillows or a cushion. The goal is to have your ankles higher than the level of your heart. Stay in this position for about 20 to 30 minutes. You can read, listen to music, or just relax. What this does is it allows all that pooled fluid to drain out of your legs and re-enter your circulation before you go to sleep. Your kidneys can then process it. You can empty your bladder one last time before bed, and you'll have dealt with that excess fluid ahead of time, not at 3 a.m. Additionally, wearing compression socks during the day can be very helpful in preventing the fluid from pooling in the first place. And simple exercises like ankle pumps, just pointing and flexing your feet while you're sitting, can also help improve circulation. Now for the red flag line. If you have significant, painful, or sudden swelling, especially if it's only in one leg, or if it's accompanied by shortness of breath, this requires an immediate call to your doctor, as it could signal a more serious circulatory or cardiac issue. But for the common, mild, end-of-day swelling, pre-bed leg elevation is a game changer. And now, we've arrived at the number one most overlooked reason for frequent nighttime bathroom trips. It's not about what you drink or eat, or even about gravity. It's about a group of muscles most people never think to exercise. Number 1, the underappreciated pelvic floor. This is, without a doubt, the most powerful and underutilized tool you have for gaining control over your bladder day and night. The issue here isn't always that your body is producing too much urine overnight. It's that your bladder's support system has weakened, making it less capable of holding the urine it does have. Let's demystify the mechanism. The pelvic floor is a hammock or a sling of muscles and tissues that stretches from your pubic bone in the front to your tailbone in the back. This muscular hammock provides essential support for your bladder, bowel, and, in women, the uterus. It also controls the sphincters, the little muscular valves that open and close to let out urine and stool. Just like any other muscle in your body, such as your biceps or quadriceps, the pelvic floor muscles can become weak over time due to age, inactivity, childbirth, surgery, or chronic straining from constipation. When this supportive hammock weakens, two things happen. First, the bladder can sag a little, which means it can't expand as efficiently to hold a normal amount of urine. This triggers the gotta go signal much sooner. Second, a weaker sphincter has a harder time staying tightly closed against the pressure of a filling bladder, creating a sense of urgency. This is why you might feel a sudden, desperate need to go, even if you just went an hour ago. The incredible news is that because these are muscles, they can be strengthened. The most effective way to do this is with pelvic floor exercises, commonly known as Kegels. And it's crucial to know that these are just as important for men as they are for women, as men also rely on these muscles for bladder control. The key is doing them correctly. Many people do them wrong, tensing their stomach, thigh, or buttock muscles instead. Here's the simplest way to find the right muscles. The next time you are urinating, try to stop or slow the flow of urine midstream. The muscles you use to do that are your pelvic floor muscles. Do not make a habit of doing this while actually urinating, as it can interfere with proper bladder emptying. Use it only once or twice to identify the correct muscles. Once you know the feeling, you can do the exercises anytime, anywhere, and no one will know. Here's a simple starter routine. 1. Sit or lie down comfortably. 2. Squeeze and lift those internal muscles, as if you were stopping the flow of urine and trying to lift a marble with your vagina or pull your testicles up. 3. Hold the squeeze for a count of 3 seconds. 4. Relax completely for a count of 3 seconds. It's just as important to fully relax as it is to squeeze. 5. Repeat this squeeze and relax cycle 10 times. This is one set. Try to do 3 sets spread throughout your day. Consistency is far more important than intensity. Over a few weeks to a few months, this simple, invisible exercise can dramatically improve your bladder's capacity and control, leading to fewer nighttime interruptions. Now, let's put all this knowledge into a simple, 3-step action plan you can use to figure out what's driving your nighttime trips. First, for the next 3 days, become a gentle detective. Keep a simple bladder diary. Note down what you eat and drink, and especially when. Also, jot down how many times you get up at night. This simple record can reveal patterns you never noticed, like the connection between that salty canned soup for dinner and a busy night. Second, commit to the leg elevation trial for 1 week. Every single evening, for 20 minutes before bed, get your feet up above your heart. This is a powerful, direct intervention for the daytime gravity effect. See if it makes a difference. For many, it's a revelation. Third, schedule a medication review with your doctor or pharmacist. Make a list of every single thing you take: prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, and supplements. Go to your appointment and ask this specific question: could any of these, or the timing of when I take them, be contributing to my frequent nighttime bathroom trips? Common culprits can include diuretics, water pills, some types of blood pressure medications, and others. Sometimes, a simple adjustment in timing, like taking a diuretic in the morning instead of the evening, can solve the problem. This isn't about stopping any medication on your own. It's about opening a collaborative conversation with your healthcare provider. Putting this all together, it's about making small, consistent changes. It's about tapering your fluids in the evening, being mindful of caffeine and salt, giving your legs that pre-bed elevation, and gently strengthening your pelvic floor. This isn't about achieving a perfect, uninterrupted night of sleep every single time. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about regaining hours of restorative sleep, feeling safer in your home, and taking back control. For those who want to read more, I will link to some reliable, plain language articles from trusted health organizations in the description below. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Based on what we discussed today, what is the one small change you might try first this week? Sharing your plan in the comments can be wonderfully motivating for others in our community. If this video was helpful, please give it a like so more people can find it, and consider sharing it with a friend who might benefit. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Be well, and I'll see you in the next video.